Hello everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV. It is the Uncensored match build-up for West Bromwich Albion versus Liverpool Football Club, and we're all in a great mood this morning. I'm your host Ross Chanley, joined today by Georgia Stevens, John Machin and Callum Sanderson. No Paul Chris this morning. You might be wondering why. They're out doing fun stuff. Well, not that this isn't fun, sorry. But I can tell you why, because breaking news from about 45 minutes ago, Robbie Fowler and Jamie Carragher have saved Melwood. The famous old boys will base their college academy there and use it as the famous training pitch as part of a community prospect that will rescue the legacy of LFC's former training ground. So basically, they bought it. They're going to use the pitches and rent some of it out, Georgia. It's a bit out of nowhere because... last I heard, I thought they sold it. They were going to make new houses on it, but just before we get into the game and stuff, it's excellent news, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great news. I mean, I don't think anyone will be upset about that. It's great for Liverpool to keep that heritage. I mean, Melwood for everyone is just, as great as the new care facility is and everything like that, it broke a lot of hearts when we moved away from Melwood. So the fact we've got two legends owning it now, pretty cool.
And we've got the option to go and train there as well, John. Now everyone just goes to Kirby and just gets injured, apparently. That's the thing. So, but I think George is right. That legacy, that thing that we don't know any different apart from Melwood. The stories, what comes with it. It's important that stays in Liverpool heritage, as George says.
Yeah, you've got somewhere to banish players to when they mess you up.
Yeah.
You're late for training, go to Melwood. But it's great for the community. We shouldn't forget, that they really didn't want, a pile of new houses banging in there with all the traffic and all the rest of it. So it's fantastic for them as well as for kids who get the opportunity to play there. And Robbie Fowler's academy is at the Aquatic Centre at Lifestyles in Wavertree at the moment, and those kids really get on my nerves when I go. So it's great to ship them out to...
Okay, John. Have you got shares in this, John? Is that what's going on?
I didn't snip.
You've broken the deal.
Robbie, just buy Melwood for us, please, mate. Yeah, good call. On the football, Callum, we're all in a great mood. We just beat Manchester United. We just on the final word. Top four is back on. It's been a wild couple of days. Arsenal did us a favour. We went to Old Trafford and won a game of football because that's the thing apparently with fifth and sixth choice centre backs. Now we face West Brom. I'm gonna lie, I'm not confident. They're a bogey side, but we have to go into this with hope.
Yeah, we do. I'm over the moon, obviously, about Man United, obviously. But as soon as the game finished, it was like, I can celebrate this, but we still have to win 3 more games. Like, if this was the game to get us into top 4, then I'd be the happiest person in the world right now. But it's like, can we actually win the next 3? Can we actually do it? Because all season you've been threatening to go on a run and you haven't. Please just do it now. Just make my year, please. Just get us into top 4.
Okay, right. Before we get into the show, we start talking about predictions and West Brom and Liverpool, what happens, and Callum leaves. We do have a sponsor for this show. It's backed by Super 6 and they hold the L. This week, Paul and Chris went on that either, but they did discuss the greatest Premier League teams ever. I think the treble winners were in there. Centurions of Manchester City and obviously the Invincibles of Arsenal. Here's a little clip from that.
With all due respect, United didn't spend £400 million just on a defence, just to build that team. They didn't spend 650 million just to even get to that point of this Centurions that have ultimately won a lot of games, which I don't... Listen, I take nothing away from that. It's an incredible achievement, but ultimately, it's a stat padding record. It doesn't matter at the end of the day when you compare it to winning the Champions League, winning the FA Cup, and winning the league as well. That is the greatest team of all time in the Premier League. Everyone says...
Okay, that is the Hold the L show for this week. Do make sure you go and check that out. The link should be in the description. If not, then blame Tom. But let's have a quick discussion on that. I know Liverpool obviously weren't involved in that conversation, Georgia. And I had a discussion with Tom before of... this is me being mature, of I can appreciate the treble side, I can appreciate the Centurions, I can appreciate the Invincibles. Like, for me, there's like, I don't understand why there has to be one standout, but that is such as content is. But if you were to pick one, who would you pick and why? Or would you throw someone else in there? Because I think Leicester could be in there. Chelsea, 04-05.
I'd probably go with Leicester because I think the Invincibles is too young to have any affinity, sorry. But yeah, I think for me, Leicester, I remember watching that season kind of from start to finish and just not believing it until it was done and just I think that was something that I really remember watching and thinking, this is a bit of history, like, to think that side and what they did. And now you only have to look at where a lot of those sides are if they're not at Leicester still. I mean, Mahrez has really gone strength to strength since then. So I think for me, probably the Leicester side.
Okay, the right answer is Liverpool, who won the Champions League, Club World Cup, Super Cup, and the Premier League
but
in the midst of a
it'll
pandemic.
age like a fine wine, and it'll be for generations to come.
Just like me. Anyway, John, let's get on to this game. Callum mentioned it there. Beating Manchester United is great and wonderful, but coming up against the bogey side, coming against Big Sam and his gravy train of defenders that just won't let us play football, is another battle, isn't it?
It is, but I've really no idea how they're going to play. I mean, they're at home. They've got nothing to play for. They're already down. Sam failed to save them from relegation for the first time ever. I just don't know. I mean, I watched a few of their games later in the season before they were actually confirmed to go down. And they played some really nice football and were quite dangerous. So I'm wondering whether he might just think, oh, to hell with it, let's have a go. I hope he does. I think that would be brilliant. But we all remember the game at Anfield, where basically they just stopped us playing and then scored, a late goal. And you just never know, do you? But we've got the incentive that we know winning 3 games will get us top 4. So let's hope.
It's dangerous, Callum, isn't it? We did some cliches on the final word. I'm going to throw some more at you. John's mentioned it there. They've been relegated. It's confirmed. It could be they're on holiday, put the feet up. It doesn't matter. They're not fighting for anything, like John says. Or it could be the pressure's off them. The shackles are off. Big Sam, like John said, might just choose to kind of go for it. Start working on stuff for next season. Again, Anti-football.
Championship starts now.
Pretty much. It's quite a dangerous mix. And like I said before, them and Burnley, the next 2 games coming up, but also them and Burnley have been the template of how to frustrate Liverpool. In my mind's eye, I think he's going to stick to kind of what he knows. But it's Liverpool beat Man United, like I said before, full of confidence. I think more importantly, we have to approach this maybe slightly differently.
Yeah, I think. Even though West Brom haven't got anything to play for, Sam Allardyce is their manager, and he's made no secret about it over the years. He hates Liverpool, and he'll do anything in his power to make sure we don't achieve the targets that we set out. Obviously, the game at Anfield was one of the worst games I've watched of football this season, and there have been some bad ones, but they literally just came just to stop us scoring. They didn't care about scoring. They just got a lucky goal, and that was it.
Do you think? Go on.
I actually think.
No, go on. You go.
Sorry, go on, mate. I actually think the fact that they've got nothing to play for, quote unquote, will actually make it a more entertaining game. And I actually think some of the players in their team will actually be trying to play for a move as well, potentially, so they can stay in the Premier League. So that's another thing to consider. But it's a game we should be winning on paper. But as we've seen this season, nothing is played on paper. So it'll be interesting to see how they turn
Sorry, Callum, are you trying to suggest that they don't want to play for Big Sam or in the Championship and they might want to leave?
What an honour.
I need my lawyer. That's okay.
Needed your lawyer 10 minutes ago when we were having a chat off screen, mate. George, I keep coming back to it because I'm still buzzing from last night, and I mentioned on the final word the fact that Jota's on the score sheet, Bobby's on the score sheet, Salah's on the score sheet again. I think that the importance of that can't go underestimated. We're in the business end of the season. The door's back open for top 4. We can go into this with hope, and I think concerns of 2 blocks of 4. We've seen it before, no shots on target, that sort of thing. But in terms of, we said before, confidence, momentum, that win last night was huge, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's not just the top 3 as well. I think we've also got Fabinho looking like he's comfortable in his role again in the holding, which we've touched on again. The final word frees up Thiago massively. He's starting to kind of play the football that we've seen and we wanted. And I think you're seeing Trent as well coming into form. I think there's a lot of players in the Liverpool side, as frustrating as it is towards the end of the season, who are kind of finding their feet again. And I think, again, that win last night is massive for us going into this game because we're starting to play a bit more like a Liverpool side.
Yeah, and like you said before, John, it's win or bust at this point, isn't it? I think we said this quite countless times in the past couple of weeks, but because that door is still open, we can talk about Burnley, we can talk about, Chelsea playing Leicester, but those games don't count if we don't win this one.
Yeah, I mean, on Twitter last night, someone had gone to the trouble of working out, well, he actually worked it out before the United game, that if everyone won all their games, and then what the scenario would be depending on what the results of the Leicester-Chelsea game are, a win either way or a draw. And in every scenario, if we win our 3 games, we finish 4th. The only possible thing against that would be goal difference. So we've got a game more than either of those. So that's an opportunity for us to score more goals. So the players will know this. The players know that they're in great form at the moment. For the first time all season, I don't know how long it is now since they were beaten, but it must be at least 7 games. They're on top form. They're scoring goals, and they've got a great formation. And they must think, all we need to do is win these 3 games, and we're the best team in the country still on our day. So, we should be. But we're playing 3 of the toughest games for us.
Yeah. Because
these teams give us trouble. West Brom, Burnley and Crystal Palace, you couldn't make it up.
No. Yeah, I'll be a bit more confident about last night than I am the remaining 3. But, again, we talked about it, Callum. It's the hope that kills you. And just on the flip side of the West Brom stuff, like I know I said cliches, but also getting relegated is mentally kind of tough to take. Their form recently, I think, they beat Southampton a couple of weeks ago, but they've lost to Leicester, drew with Villa, drew with Wolves, lost to Arsenal, of all people who aren't really high. Well, for Arsenal's form is pretty decent, actually, to be fair to them. But again, it's it's defeat after defeat. Morale goes slightly down. We can joke about it all we want of, they might rest or whatever, but, you've just been relegated from the Premier League. In a manager that you brought in to stop you from doing that, whose record before was not to get relegated, and it's happened. So, their confidence could be on the floor.
Yeah, as bad as it's going to sound, I hope it is, because I want us to win this game. I really, we need to win this game, and if their confidence is low, we need to make sure we really get about the game and we really take it to them. I mean, as John said, we're in really good form right now. We need to take advantage of this and really show why we are one of the best teams in Europe.
I'm all for that. Just get it done. Can't come quick enough. We're going to go to a little break now, but before we do, is a little trivia question. George, don't jump in with an answer like I did before. There are 18 players that have played for West Brom and for Liverpool. There's loads that you just won't get. I only want you to name 5 of them. If you can, get them in the comments. But before we do, a little break. Paul sat down with James Pearce to talk through some Liverpool transfer business, the latest on Canate and some other bits. It's out on redmentv.com now. There's some other stuff that's coming out very, very soon, which I'll tell you at the end of the show. But if you have not subscribed, I know this is biased. I know I work here. I know I get paid to be here and to say these things. But honestly, the amount of content that's coming out in the next couple of weeks is phenomenal. Go and get subscribed, watch this little clip and see what you think.
My colleague David Ornstein wrote the story back at the end of March that Canate was Klopp's top target in terms of defensive reinforcements in the summer, and I think we said then that talks were at a pretty advanced stage, and how it wasn't done, but we kind of expected it to get done. And I'm not aware that the situation has changed since then. Really, it's still not 100% done, because that conversation with Leipzig hasn't happened yet in terms of either negotiating the fee or just straight up paying his release clause, which is probably what I think there's a realization that is probably what's going to have to happen. I don't really see Leipzig being prepared to let him go for anything less than that release clause. So I think clearly he's someone that Liverpool have had their eye on for quite some time. I think he fits the profile in terms of, speed, aerial prowess, young, hungry, loads of potential to unlock. So I think he ticks a lot of the boxes for Klopp, Canate. So I think maybe probably after what's happened with a couple of deals in not too distant past, it's probably worth remembering it's not 100% done until he's actually wearing a Liverpool shirt, but Fixture had a Liverpool shirt on and that still didn't happen. So let's wait and see. But yeah, certainly I'd be very surprised if that didn't happen this summer.
Yeah, we need to find out what's replaced the Melwood Lean. The AXA training ground lean doesn't have the same sort of ring, does it?
Yeah. I wish I could tell you, but I haven't even been there yet. It's with obviously the bubble and the lockdown and stuff. It's it's been a long wait to step through the doors of that new plush building.
Yes, there we go. That interview with James Pearce is out on the website right now. Head over to the redmentv.com. Go and get that. Go and get loads more content if you want to subscribe as a club legend. Highly recommend it. You get free merchandise, discount on merchandise, free tickets to live shows when they're a thing, because hopefully soon we can do that. Access to the Discord group and loads more. It's well worth your money. But we did have a trivia question before the break. 18 players, Georgia. I said name 5 of them.
Scott Carson.
Well done.
Thank you. Bet you were guessing for that one, were you?
Yeah, because I got the answers. What was the other one that you said before?
John knows this one, doesn't
Go on,
he?
John.
Nicky and Elka, yeah.
Nicholas and Elka. And we had a discussion in the break. Callum says he's got 6.
No pressure, mate.
Go on.
So I had those 2.
Yeah, of course you did.
Sure
No,
did.
mate.
Sturridge on loan.
Yeah.
Chris Kirkland.
Yeah.
Lambert.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, Steve Nicol.
Steve Nicol, yeah. You finished looking at your phone there, yeah?
No. I look, my list. I've got my list.
Got a few cards off screen.
Sorry, as well as the list, right? What else have you got next to you, Callum? Show the viewers what you got.
My phone is here, yeah.
No, where's your Bobby mask?
Here.
Just randomly.
My homie.
There you go. Just in case.
The people know.
Yeah, well done.
legend.
Yeah, you got Daniel Sturridge, Nicholas Anelka, Steve Nicol. You got Ricky Lambert. You got Chris Kirkland. You got David Burrows.
I forget Ricky Lambert played for us.
Yeah,
fever dream.
Someone else, Andre Wisdom, played for them as well.
Oh yes.
So there we go. Bit of knowledge there for you.
Nicholas Anelka.
Oh, yeah, Nicholas Anelka, Georgia. Yes, he did. Yeah. Right, on to Liverpool team news. Jurgen Klopp's press conference is at 12:30, so we should know a bit more then. Injury concerns, Georgia. Copy and paste from the past 6 months, or quite a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kabak is the only. I say concern. I'm not. I'm thinking fine with Reece Williams and Nat Phillips after last night's performance. But again, it's a difficult test for them, especially Reece Williams. In all seriousness, because I've started Sam Allardyce's teams off, and I will continue to do that. But a physical side, tall physical side against an inexperienced kid, set pieces, even just kind of interplay, it's going to be tough for him. Not going to give him an easy time. I think you'd rather have Kabak still, wouldn't you?
Definitely. In terms of physicality, Kabak's obviously leaps and bounds above Reece at the moment because of the age difference, experience, the leagues they've played in as well. But that being said, I mean, Reece Williams has just come off a back of a game where, not that he had him in his pocket, but he's just done well against one of the best strikers for a long time in Europe. I mean, Edson Cavani is no easy man to mark and to deal with, and he did really well with him. And I think for me, it's building on that, and it's going into this game knowing that you've just played against one of the toughest teams that we've had in the league for a while, and you've done well against them. So West Brom should be within his capability.
Yeah. Have you got any preference there, Johnny? There's not a lot of other choices, but we'll come on to the rest of the side in a second. But again, I said before, going to Manchester United, I would have preferred to have Fabinho there. I'm glad I was proven wrong, but I was nervous. I was nervous about Cavani. I was nervous about Rashford and Mason Greenwood. He's dealt with it well. It's a test for him. Do you stick with the same centre-back partnership and go again?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm on record as saying, I much prefer us to have 2 centre-backs and play them rather than a midfielder going back there, because then you're messing about with two parts of the team. And I'm also a great believer in consistency, playing the same guys as often as you possibly can. Williams probably deserved his chance. I like him better on the left than when he was playing on the right. Don't know why.
We'll never
We've
know
lost
why.
John there.
We'll never know why Sean prefers
Tom.
Reece on the left.
Callum, fill in quick.
Why does he prefer Reece on the right?
Just to add on to what John was saying.
Yes.
We rehearsed this before we came on. The reason why John likes Reece on the left side.
John's still here. He's just sitting very still.
He's listening
The reason why I
intently to
prefers
you.
him on the left-hand side is because his passing range is slightly better than that. So getting him out over on the left-hand side means he gets the ball to Robbo quicker. Plus, I also think Nat playing on the right probably helps with Trent being there, because Trent obviously usually goes forward a lot more than Robbo does. So Robbo will cover Reece a bit more, him being on the left, whereas Trent kind of leaves a lot of space with his marauding runs going forward. So I see the logic.
No shouts for Ben Davies, who might potentially be fit for this one, Callum.
Hologram.
I think he's cooking at the moment. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's thinking about the corn.
Yeah, it's got that corn. Got to defrost it.
Yeah.
You gotta, you know.
He's out with the corn hamstring. Let's move on. John, come back quick. Save me. George, I mentioned it before. Personally, I'd stick with the same team. I don't want to put any words with your mouth, but I think there's a discussion to be had. We don't know James Milner just yet, but I think Kurt Jones, I've said for the past 2-3 weeks, should be in with a shout of starting this game. It's hard when you've just played, what day is it, Thursday night, and then you're playing Sunday again, then we're playing Wednesday. I know it's the final stages of the season, but you still got to maintain that rhythm, but also the fitness of players as well.
Yeah, I do see the shout for Kurt Jones, because he did well as well when he did come on.
Got assist.
I think, though, for me, I'd much prefer the other midfield to stay the same. I'd love to see Thiago continue to play with that kind of freedom. Gini, maybe, he didn't. For me, it was maybe not his best performance that we've seen, especially in such a physical game. We usually see him come into his own, but yeah, I'd give that 3 another run out, and I don't see him playing on the wing. I don't see him shoving either Mane or Jota, or even definitely not Mo.
Yeah.
So I think for this game, no, I wouldn't bring him back. But if he continues to make those impacts coming off the bench, then
better for us, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Callum, you sticking with that?
Yeah, I think so. Before the game, I would have actually started Curtis Jones, but it's a tough one, because do you want to disrupt a winning team, but at the same time, it's 2 intense games in a few days. I'd probably start with the same midfield.
Yeah. One discussion we had on the final word, which I know is getting talked about a lot on social media at the minute, is obviously the Sadio Mane stuff last night. We covered that on the final word anyway. But again, going into this game, we mentioned before, his reaction to Jurgen Klopp might have annoyed a lot of people, but he's annoyed with himself. That's what we both said, didn't we, George? He's missed a chance, he's fluffed it. He's missed that chance. He's not started the game. The other 3 have scored. His form hasn't been great. But we talk about freshening things up and someone kind of being pumped for a game, as it were. And I said before, take that energy from the final whistle at Old Trafford and take it into Sunday and go and show us on Jurgen Klopp that you do deserve to start games.
Yeah, again, it's the same thing though. Do you disrupt?
Bloody hell, Callum! Come on.
Well, think about it. Jota got a goal. Bobby got 2. Salah got a goal.
Think about it.
But at the same time, this is what we love. This is what we screamed about. We wanted depth where players can sort of mix and match or interchange, and we still don't drop off in quality. So I would actually start Mane this game, and I'd actually drop Bobby. And just have the.
Just scored 2 goals. What are you doing?
Rip that mask.
I know. He's looking at me now as well. The mask is looking at me. I think he's disgusted with me. But I just think in this game, if West Brom do come out at us and we've got 3 players who can break quickly against them, I think we destroy them.
Yeah, and equally, that's a really good point. That actually, because I think in games where Bobby struggled, Georgia, is because he's central in the middle. And I talked about the 2 banks of 4 before. He gets the ball. Okay, he drops deep and tries to help out. But as soon as he turns round, there's just bodies in front of him, and he can't. He's ineffective in that sense. So maybe Callum is right of rotating for this game. And it might be a way forward.
That mask is gonna watch him. It's gonna follow him everywhere now.
Doesn't deserve that mask.
I've turned it over.
I think whether it's Bobby or not, I do agree. I think would start on Mane, because I think Mane is a bit like Mo, and what we've seen is when he's that little bit angry and when he's kind of that bit aggy, you get a whole different kind of game out of him. And I think him going into a game that's going to be physical, that's going to be tough to break down, with that bit of energy and that kind of axe to grind, I think that could be a lot more dangerous than him coming off the bench yet again, because so many things can happen in a game of whether you think you're bringing him on at, say, 60 minutes and that's set in stone, and before you know it, it's 70, it's 80, and I think that's kind of what happened against United, and that may be the thing that stuck in as well. I mean, you don't know if Klopp said, you're getting this amount of minutes, you're coming on, or you kind of know when he's going to make his subs and things like that. So I do think Mane coming on and starting this game will be a nice change. It's just who you drop and who you rotate, to be honest, because everyone's kind of firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, I think you're right, Cam. They're in form. I said before, confidence going into the final 3 games of the season. If you're Bobby, I don't think it'll be Mo or Jota. For the same reasons, you're going, I've just scored at Old Trafford. Like, I'm in form, like, kind of play me. Whereas, I call it rotating because I just don't like the word dropping. But for Mane, like, it's stacked against him. He's by his standards, he's been pretty poor this season. He did miss that chance, and then there's an argument whether, I don't want to blow out of proportion, whether Klopp kind of goes, well, I don't like that reaction. So,
to be fair, to give possibly, to not put it to bed, but to one good thing is Klopp did come out and defend that reaction from Mane of saying that it was because of the...
He didn't have time to tell him.
He didn't have time to tell him. He didn't tell him properly, and that's not something that he usually does or advocates to do. And that's not a new Klopp sticking up for his players. I think that whether that's just the public facing or whether that's his genuine reaction, I think that kind of bodes well for the fact that it's done. It's over.
Stop talking about it, Ross. Is that what you're saying?
No, because content is content.
Got 3 minutes out of that. Or Callum, we've got the option of all 4 of them. If West Brom do set up in the sense of, I like that, yeah. If Big Sam does do pile on the gravy train, as I keep calling it, and just goes, you're not scoring a goal, I'll tell you what, we'll put all 4 of them on, and you can deal with that. Have Fabinho and Thiago sitting a bit deeper, give Gini the rest.
If Big Sam doesn't come out with a crockery line after this, that is gravy boats. Big Sam's gravy train. You're branding him really well.
Big Sam's bisto tits. That's what he calls it. But the options there, Callum, and I've had the issue with that before of going, if it doesn't work, and I think it might be Real Madrid or was it Newcastle that we played, and we just couldn't kind of get it over the line. We played all 4. Then you look at your bench and you're going, well, Origi, like he's on the bench and he's not on the bench, and he's injured. Shaqiri, he's not had the same minutes. You're losing an impact sub in that sense when you do that. But we need to win this game.
Yeah, I mean, the thought of all 4 playing together it feels.
Oh, he's had enough now as well. This has been a disaster. We never know what it'll fill.
See,
it fills his gravy jug.
We will know.
There we go.
Am I back?
What does the thought of the 4 playing together fill you with?
Yeah, fills me with joy. But I don't think we've done very well with all 4 of them. I don't think we've won a game where all 4 started together. So I don't know if this is a game to break that omen. But even Mane is in reasonable form before last night as well. I think he had 2 in 3. So it's not like he was in bad form as such. But over the course of the season, I think he's been the worst attacker out of the bunch. But at the same, the front 4. You've done me there, because that is my dream scenario. Okay. But it also worries me because if we don't break them down, then we've kind of not got anything on the bench that I think could break them down.
Yeah, I'm going all 4. I'm going all out. Let's have a look at the other fixtures. And I said this before: Brighton versus West Ham, Georgia. That's tomorrow at 8:00. Or Brighton, aren't we?
Tantalising game.
Well, it might not be, but we could do with a massive Brighton win there just to make the weekend a little bit easier. And again, going into Sunday afternoon is quite a nice time because fixtures might go our way again, and then we can go actually, make it count again.
Yeah, no, completely. And I think Brighton, they're one of those teams that it could happen. You never really know with them and how they play. And I think there is a chance there, especially with kind of the way West Ham have been going recently, that they do get a result. And I mean, it's not really something I'll be tuning into, but I will be keeping an eye on it because, we win all 3. I think that's the good thing about the result as well last night is it really does put it in our own hands. Like John said, goal difference aside. Yeah. But, I really think we're in a strong position now of not kind of having to constantly keep one eye and keep an eye on everyone else.
Yeah, it's going to be a stressful couple of weeks going into the end of this. The other one that I've got down there, Callum, is Tuesday. Chelsea-Leicester, obviously, I think it's the cup final this weekend, so they're not playing. They play on Tuesday. Again, I haven't got the brand of maths, but this game, again, the Chelsea-Leicester game will only matter. It's only worth watching to put yourself through the emotions if we win on Sunday.
Yeah, indeed. If we win on Sunday, then I want a 4-4 in that game. I want it to be entertaining back and forth and a draining game for both teams.
Yeah, okay,
That's what
I'll take that. Let's have some score predictions, Georgia. Liverpool versus West Brom.
4-0.
4-0?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Blimey.
One for each of the front four. It's starting to
One for each of the front four, but Manu's going to come on.
Okay. Optimism, Callum.
No,
Pressure's on, mate. What are you going for?
Don't be a pessimist. You love your club, don't you, Callum?
I'm going to go 2-0 Liverpool.
Okay, I'm going to go 1-0.
Oh, boo.
I'm not bothered. Just 3 points.
3 points.
Yeah,
Get the 3 points. Get a goal. Get out of there. Go home. Make it count. I'll probably text John and ask him what his score prediction was because he has left
coming
us.
through.
Yeah,
4-1.
4-1. Oh, John's
Well
going
done,
to concede the goal. Thanks for that. Is he there? Is he?
He's,
Okay,
yeah.
good. Technology, disappoint anyone. Let us know your thoughts, your predictions. Yeah. Oh, super chat. Sorry. Tom's shouting at me.
Would you like me to fill the signs with some David Gray?
Yeah. Go ahead. Scott Hawks, sorry. Thank you very much, Scott Hawks, $30 US. Drop Bobby, what? Callum, seriously? Man, I desperately needs to find his form. I'm running out of games, so I'd play him. I wouldn't drop Bobby as he's finally finding his. Yeah, that's you told.
Sorry.
I completely agree. I hope Bobby back.
Someone's paid money to tell you off for dropping Bobby, right?
Yeah.
Think about what you've done.
You take next 5 minutes of your life, put that mask up against the wall, stare at Bobby, look at him in the eyes, and tell him you drop him.
Look at his teeth.
Shortly
Look into that gleaming white and tell him no. All 4 for me. Thank you very much, Scott, as always, for supporting us and what we do. Let us know your score predictions, your predicted lineups, or what you kind of go for. Would you go for the front four? Would you play Manny, or would you go stick with the team that beat Manchester United? Before I do go, I said about content. We've got something huge coming up. It's been in the workings for months. I can't give too much away. It's a Jordan Henderson 10 years documentary that involves the big man, Jurgen Klopp, and many more names that I wish I could tell you, but I just can't. So get subscribed to redmentv.com. Watch all the content we've got so far. Loads of interviews, loads of documentaries on already, but soon we'll be coming out with another teaser soon. But here's the first teaser of that documentary.
Oh. So this is John Henderson's documentary, right? So we have to say the truth, huh? So let me say it like this.
Thank you so much for watching the Redmen TV YouTube channel. Everything we do here is funded by our wonderful subscribers to the redmentv.com. Get over there, sign up and get amazing additional content, interviews, documentaries, mini-series, and of course additional pre and post match day content.